All right, so about to leave for UFC Austin, but I got to get this video out because it's a big story. Neal Magney actually finally put out a statement about the impact of Ian Garry's characterizing him as a child abuser, and what has everyone said about that from Jump Street, right? I don't think there was a lot of, there was either people ignored it or people condemned it. Like there's literally not one person who had Ian Garry's back on this. I don't think people realize how serious it was. I didn't until now. I just, generally speaking, think that if you call a person a child abuser, that's kind of like a line you don't cross unless you're pretty sure that they're actually a child abuser. You know what I mean? It's a pretty pretty serious accusation to throw at a guy. And it turns out that it had a very serious effect, potentially costing Neal Magney his kids. That's what really happened. I just found that out. And so if you watch my videos every single day, you know that I talked about this yesterday as it relates to Layla Ann Lee, where she very clearly was directly involved in all of these things, directly involved in the Joff Neal t-shirt, put his mugshot on a t-shirt. Man, I can't find any good mugshots of this guy. She spearheaded that. That was not Ian Garry. That was her. And when I found that out, I obviously did the video yesterday where I was just mercilessly making fun of her because it's like defamation, huh? Oh, you don't like people going into your background and then exposing, facts and then maybe twisting them around. I mean, maybe. No, maybe they're twisting the facts around. Did you write a WAG book? Well, it's an 11-page audio book of how to be a WAG. So you did write it though. I mean, yeah, I wrote it. All right, cool. So how much older are you than Ian? I'm much older than him. And he is like a hot up and coming, star. Well, yes. And you wrote a book about how to be a WAG, which is wife and girlfriend. Like, yeah, you wrote a book about it and you are together with him, right? Well, yes, but it was taken out of, you did that. Yes. All right, cool. I just want to make sure. And your ex-husband does, at the very least, work for you guys and travels around with you guys and is very close quarters with you guys, right? Well, yes. All right. So do you like it when people get into your business and then put out your information? No, because you threatened defamation against people, right? What does defamation mean? It means it caused actual material damage in your life. That is she always brings up the legal thing. I got my degree, my degree at blah, blah, blah. People have told me the, validity of her degree. I understand those courses that you take. Believe me, I get marketed them all the time, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to discredit her degree. I'm just going to say, if you know defamation, then you know exactly what the actual defamation definition is. Like, what is defamation? It's something that's not true that caused you material, diagnosable damage in your life. That's defamation. Okay? So we'll come back to that, but we're going to start with what Neal Magney said about what happened to him. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that. Look forward to seeing everybody at UFC Austin. If anybody sees us, come say what's up. But like I said, I'm going to have my daughter with me, so don't be a fucking weirdo. I'm excited to talk to all you guys. Just, talk like I'm with an 11-year-old girl, because I will be. Okay, so Ian Garry. Oh, and by the way, she'll cry if you don't subscribe. Okay, so Ian Garry, in itself, the comments had more consequences than just like nonsense at the press conference. There were literally screenshots being taken of headlines saying that I'm a child abuser and I do this to my kids. There were screenshots being taken and put into apps and things like that would be admissible in court, where I'm literally fighting for custody for my children. Now, is it good policy on a YouTube video to just have like long periods of silence? Probably like the most frowned upon creator thing that you can do, but I'm just going to let that sit for a second. Okay? What did we say? Why would you not call a person a child abuser? First of all, because it's like the worst thing you could possibly call people. And this whole, thing that I can tell very clearly by how she responded to all of the backlash that she's all on board with the let's diagnose racism. Let's diagnose sexism. Let's diagnose blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, I mean, someone says, hey, that guy's a sexist. It's not like it's not a good thing to be, but it's certainly not the same as being like a racist, as an example. Pretty bad thing to be, But a child abuser, probably the worst thing you can be, Two different kinds of abuse, one much worse than the other, but the other still pretty bad, still pretty bad. What's lower than beating up a kid? I mean, aside from the other thing you could do to a kid. Defenseless little animals, The same reason that we all have the instinct to protect children is the same reason why I initially was letting her off the hook. Because I kind of, it's like protect kids, and then it's like, protect women. She's getting hammered. I don't know if she deserved it, but like the way she handled it with the defamation stuff, and then to find out that this is the actual result of what you guys did, knowing that you guys you personally were directly involved in all of this. You put Joff Neal's mugshot on a t-shirt. You searched his background. You found his arrest records. And then you took his mugshot and put it on a t-shirt. Now, is that big of a deal? No, it's not. It's not that big a deal at all. That's why you don't hear me, that's why the tone of my video yesterday was funny. At least I think it's funny. I wasn't like mad. I was like, geez. So remember, you're playing the victim. No, see, this is a game you opted in for. This is a different thing. Okay. This is a totally different thing. It is directly connected to the defamation thing, though, because what you accused everyone of doing is exactly what you guys actually did to Neal Magney. Did what evidence do you have that Neal Magney has ever put a hand on a kid or would ever actually hurt a child? What evidence is there? Because he's a super nice guy. Trash talk doesn't come super naturally to him. He makes one offhand comment really meant to point out that Garry is like a super young buck and he's an old grinder in the game. That was his actual point, was saying this guy's this really young, hot talent, and I'm like this old veteran. I'm gonna have to put a whooping on him like he's a boy. You gotta learn him something. He's trying to be funny. And then you guys potentially put him in a position where he's gonna lose his fucking kids. You guys should apologize to him, is what you should do. Should fucking apologize to him. At the very least, you should apologize to him if you are still looking for, I don't know. If people are still and I'm just talking specifically to Layla Anna Lee, Garry understands he's in the fight. Let me just make this perfectly clear. If Layla Anna Lee was a quiet observer who is just married to Garry, then this is a conversation. She would not be involved in this conversation at all. Okay? Not at all. But she put herself in the game, and then also she responded to people talking about her online in a way that now can be brought back and just laughed at. You're like, you serious? It's just laced with sexism. Jeez, And oh gosh, they're just defaming the living hell out of you with these facts. It's terrible. I don't like what they're implying about those facts. All right, well, what facts did you have when you were on board with Garry promoting the idea that Neal Magney was a child abuser? Oh, none? None. Who has a better case of defamation? Because this is not a real case of defamation either. He wouldn't win in court. Like I'm saying, Neal Magney wouldn't win in court if he sued Garry for defamation here. I don't think. I mean, I would be shocked, because Garry directly said to everyone what the basis of his takeaway was, which was exactly what Neal Magney said, which was a fucking ridiculous, stretch, and obviously not what he meant, but he did source something Neal Magney actually said, which is exactly why I could say something like, good God, man. I mean, you got to look at the situation. I mean, she wrote a book called How to Be a Wag, which is about how to trap a professional athlete, get him, fatten him up, and then extract all of his money in a divorce. And then she ends up marrying Garry, who's like set to be the new Conor McGregor. And she's got this guy so turned around that she got him to hire her ex-husband, who now lives with them apparently. Who knows what the fuck is going on in that house? She's probably fucking the ex-husband while Ian is training. She probably stole money from you would think because of she wrote it. Okay, that's what you did. Now, is any of that stuff true? Are any of the takeaways that I just laid out true? I would imagine not, right? I would imagine they're not true. But that's not defamation, which is why Ian Garry would probably be all right on an actual defamation charge from Neal Magney. But nonetheless, what you guys did had actual consequences, and that's fucked up. So you should own that and apologize.